This town is so isolated. There are no roads connected it to the outside world. Imagine living in a town where for more than 100 days every year the sun never rises. A place so isolated that there are no roads connecting it to the outside world. A town where carrying a rifle is normal because polar bears can appear anytime. Where people are not allowed to be buried and pregnant women must leave before giving birth. This is not a movie. This is Longyearbyen, a tiny Arctic settlement sitting deep inside the frozen wilderness of Svalbard, just 1,300 kilometers from the North Pole. Only around 2,500 people live here. Temperatures drop below -20 degrees, and winter storms can trap the town for days. Yet somehow people still choose to stay. Scientists, miners, adventurers, and families. Why would anyone live in one of the harshest places on Earth? Tonight, we journey into the frozen edge of human civilization to discover how people survive in the world's most isolated town. Longyearbyen is located on the Norwegian archipelago of Svalbard, high above the Arctic Circle. At 78 degrees north, it is one of the northernmost permanent settlements on Earth. Longyearbyen sits halfway between mainland Norway and the North Pole. No highways, no trains, and no neighboring cities connect to it. The only way in is by airplane or ship, and during winter storms, even those connections can disappear. For most of human history, almost nobody lived this far north permanently because the environment was simply too brutal. But in 1906, an American businessman named John Munro Longyear arrived searching for coal. Soon miners built a settlement in the frozen valley, and that settlement slowly became Longyearbyen. For decades, life here revolved around coal mining, but today the town survives through tourism, science, and Arctic research. Scientists from across the world now come here to study glaciers, climate change, and the Arctic ecosystem. Every year, something extraordinary happens in Longyearbyen. The sun disappears, not for a day or a week, but for more than 113 days. From late October until mid-February, the sun never rises above the horizon, creating the famous polar night. During these months, Longyearbyen exists in permanent darkness. People wake up in darkness, work in darkness, and return home in darkness. The human body struggles with this extreme lifestyle. Sleep patterns become unstable while depression and exhaustion increase. Yet many locals describe the darkness as beautiful. Snow reflects the moonlight. Northern lights dance across the sky, and the Arctic transforms into a frozen dream. Then suddenly, after months of darkness, the first sunrise arrives and the entire town gathers beneath the mountains to witness it. But Longyearbyen also experiences the complete opposite. During summer, the sun never sets. For around 4 months, there is sunlight 24 hours a day. Midnight looks like daytime as children play outside at 2 a.m. and tourists hike mountains under the glowing midnight sun. The endless daylight confuses the human brain once again, forcing residents to cover their windows with blackout curtains just to sleep. Without sunrise or sunset, days begin to blur together. Still, the summer brings life back into the Arctic. Snow melts, birds return, and glaciers shine beneath golden sunlight before winter slowly returns again. Life in Longyearbyen is beautiful, but it is also dangerous. Outside the settlement, humans are not the top predators. Polar bears are. Thousands of polar bears roam across Svalbard, which is why residents often carry rifles whenever they leave town. Visitors are warned never to travel alone because a polar bear can appear silently at any moment. Avalanches are another deadly threat, as heavy snowstorms can trigger massive slides from the surrounding mountains. Then there is the isolation itself. If something goes wrong here, help may be hours away. The local hospital handles only basic emergencies, while serious cases require evacuation flights to mainland Norway. Longyearbyen has some of the strangest rules on Earth. One of the most famous is that people cannot be buried here. Scientists discovered that bodies buried in the frozen ground did not properly decompose because of the permafrost. As a result, burials were banned decades ago. Pregnant women must also leave the island before giving birth, because the town lacks advanced medical facilities. There is no proper maternity ward and no major surgery center. Even today, Longyearbyen feels temporary, with many residents staying only a few years before moving away. Yet despite the harsh conditions, many people fall deeply in love with the Arctic lifestyle because of its silence, isolation, and adventure. Surviving in Longyearbyen requires constant preparation. Almost everything the town needs must arrive by airplane or ship. Food, fuel, medicine, and supplies travel thousands of kilometers through harsh Arctic conditions before reaching the settlement. During winter storms, flights can be delayed for days, leaving residents heavily dependent on stored supplies and careful planning. Even basic groceries are expensive because nearly everything is imported from mainland Norway. For decades, Longyearbyen relied on a coal power plant for electricity and heat. Thick smoke once rose into the Arctic sky every day as miners worked beneath the frozen mountains. But climate change is rapidly transforming Svalbard, faster than almost anywhere else on Earth. Temperatures are rising, glaciers are shrinking, and the frozen permafrost beneath buildings is beginning to melt. Today, the town is slowly shifting toward cleaner energy systems. Solar panels appear on rooftops during the endless summer daylight, while modern battery systems help support the settlement through the long Arctic winter. Scientists in Longyearbyen now study climate change in real time, turning the town into one of the world's most important Arctic research centers. Yet despite the dangers and extreme cold, people continue adapting to life at the edge of the world. For outsiders, life in Longyearbyen may seem impossible. Months of darkness, freezing temperatures, and complete isolation would drive many people away. Yet thousands still choose to remain here year after year. The reason is difficult to explain until you experience the Arctic yourself. Many residents describe Longyearbyen as peaceful in a way modern cities can never be. There are no crowded highways, no constant noise, and no rush of urban life. Instead, people live surrounded by silence, snow, and endless mountains. The community here is also unusually close. In one of the harshest environments on Earth, people depend on one another for survival. Neighbors help each other during storms, strangers quickly become friends, and the isolation creates a powerful sense of belonging. Then there is the beauty of the Arctic itself. During winter, northern lights dance across the sky above the frozen valley. In summer, the midnight sun paints the mountains gold for weeks without darkness. For many people, Longyearbyen feels less like a town and more like another world entirely. Some arrive for work, others come for adventure, but many eventually stay because nowhere else on Earth feels quite the same. Longyearbyen is more than just a remote Arctic settlement. It is a reminder of how far human beings are willing to go to survive, explore, and build a life in even the harshest environments imaginable. For months every year, darkness covers the land. Polar bears roam beyond the town limits. Storms isolate the settlement from the rest of the world, and temperatures fall far below freezing. Yet every morning, thousands of people still wake beneath these frozen mountains and call this place home. Maybe that is what makes Longyearbyen so fascinating. Not just the endless night, not the freezing cold, not even the isolation, but the people who choose to stay anyway. In a world filled with noise and modern comfort, Longyearbyen represents something rare, a place where nature still controls human life completely. And perhaps that is why this frozen Arctic town continues to capture the imagination of the entire world. Because at the very edge of human civilization, people are still learning how to survive together against the impossible.